What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley analyzes Aljamain Sterling. With Sugar Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling likely to compete against one another before the end of the year, the fight community has continued to theorize as to how things could wind up playing out in Boston. From the sounds of things, the fight seems to be a classic battle of striker versus grappler, as many predictions revolve around whether Sterling will be able to get the fight to the ground, or whether O'Malley will be able to keep things on the feet. With his sights set on capturing UFC gold, Sean O'Malley believes that when it comes down to it, he will simply be too much for the Funkmaster. During a recent interview with the Schmo, Sugar Sean analyzed the champ's abilities, predicting that the champ's signature style could wind up being his downfall.
I am a sniper. And Aljo walks forward. He's very, his awkwardness is effective in MMA. You got to give it to him because you watch him strike and you're like, what the hell's he doing? But look what he's done. So his awkwardness is effective, but I think it will be the downfall of him because I am a sniper. You can't walk forward like that with me and cross your feet with your chin in the air because I will find it.
The way the streaking contender sees things, even though he likely won't be able to put the champ away with one shot, his volume will continue to wear on his opponent. As he has also predicted, a fight between he and the champion will likely sell far more than Sterling's recent pay-per-view fight against Henry Cejudo. Although Triple C's coach, Eric Abarracin, has gone on record as claiming that the UFC 288 event sold around 700,000 pay-per-view buys, the champ isn't buying it. After Albarracin made the claims this week, the champ was quick to fire back, adding that the event would be lucky to break 250,000 pay-per-view buys. From the sounds of things, an event between O'Malley and Sterling could very well outperform the UFC 288 clash between Sterling and Cejudo when it comes to pay-per-view buys, despite the fact that Sugar Sean's UFC 280 win over Peter Yan remains rather controversial. His star power could fuel the event's success. When the bout does take place, who do you believe walks away with the W? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Colby Covington leaves fans shocked with latest callout. Colby Covington is no stranger to callouts. The outspoken and oftentimes controversial contender never shies away from taking shots at potential opponents whenever the opportunity presents itself. Although Covington has recently teased a potential clash between he and lightweight champion Islam Makhachev, given that the 155-pound champ seems likely to test the waters at 170 pounds, nobody could have predicted his latest callout. During a recent interview with MMA Fighting, Covington took aim at Israel Adesanya, who he teased a fight with prior to his UFC 268 clash against Kamaru Usman several years ago. The way Chaos sees things, the last stylebender simply can't keep up with the cardio king.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge fight, and it's a fight of high magnitude. So I like the matchup, to be honest. I don't think he can hang with me. I think I take him down, I beat him from pillar to post, and I just break him inside that octagon. He can't hang with the cardio king. And I've been doing extra in the cardio to get my bedroom cardio right. So, he's not ready for Raw America Steel and twist his deal. So,
with Covington poised to get a crack at the welterweight title later this year, only time will tell whether he finds himself in a position for a clash of champions with Adesanya. Gilbert Burns injury update following UFC 288 loss. In the co-main event of UFC 288, Belal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns competed in a highly anticipated welterweight title eliminator. Unfortunately, early on in the fight, Burns shot for a takedown and wound up injuring his shoulder. As he was heard telling his corner between rounds, he couldn't throw his left hand the way he wanted to. After the 5-round affair saw Muhammad declared the winner, many were fearful that Burns would have to undergo surgery to repair his shoulder. As he recently revealed in a video for his YouTube channel, although he has several notable injuries, he won't have to undergo surgery and will only work through 2 to 3 months of physical therapy.
That's what happened on the arm. I have AC joint torn, but it's second to third grade. I have the deltoid torn. I have on the trapeze, I have a muscle torn, and I have a sprain on my C4 and on my C5. But all those are partial, nothing major. I don't need, thank God I don't need no surgery.
Although Burns lost the fight, he has continued to receive praise from fans given the fact that he took the fight on short notice to give UFC 288 a co-main event, even though he had already punched his ticket to a title shot with his win over Jorge Masvidal at UFC 287. When he does return to the octagon, who do you want to see him compete against? Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Kelvin Gastelum makes big announcement. On the heels of his big win over Chris Curtis, former Ultimate Fighter winner Kelvin Gastelum has officially announced that he will be moving back down to welterweight for a second run after being forced to 185 as the result of missing weight numerous times at 170. Gastelum broke the news in a video for his social media channels, revealing that he was planning to get shredded in order to make a run at welterweight.
Like I said, this is a second chance. This is a renaissance in my career. This is a rebirth. And before I was young, I was dumb, I was stupid, undisciplined. But now that I'm older, hopefully a little bit more mature and smarter, hopefully. Everybody knows this has always been my weight class to go to, but it really just takes me to decide that I want to do it. And now I decide that I want to do it, and I'm going to do it.
Throughout the early portion of Gastelum's career, missing weight was a dominant theme of his post-Ultimate Fighter run. Although he showed flashes of brilliance at middleweight, like his interim title fight with Israel Adesanya, he was widely viewed as undersized for the division. With his sights set on a move to 170, only time will tell how things play out. UFC Fight Updates. The UFC has been busy booking fights for upcoming events. Without further ado, let's jump right in. First up on the calendar, we have 2 new fights added to the UFC Fight Night Vettori vs. Cannonier card on June 17th. First up, we have a fight between Kyung Ho Kang and Christian Quinones, which will see Kang look to build on a UFC 275 win, while Quinones will be riding a big 5-fight winning streak into the bout. Also on the card, Christian Leroy Duncan will fight Armen Petrosyan. The fight will see Leroy Duncan look to keep his unbeaten streak alive, while Petrosyan looks to build momentum on a win over AJ Dobson at UFC 280. On July 1st, Damir Ismagulov will make his highly anticipated return to the octagon after announcing that he would compete in one final fight on his UFC contract. Standing opposite him will be Grant Dawson, who has gone undefeated inside the octagon outside of a draw in 2021. Last but certainly not least, we have an update on Rafael dos Anjos and Vicente Luque, who were originally expected to fight on July 15th. This fight will now take place instead on August 12th, and we'll see the 2 veterans collide in a high-stakes clash inside the octagon. Yang Xiaonan weighs in on a potential title fight against Zhang Weili. After her big first-round win at UFC 288, Yang Xiaonan had seemingly punched her ticket to a title shot against Zhang Weili. With an impressive 2-fight winning streak to her name and a recent performance of the night bonus, her star power is at an all-time high. With a champion and #1 contender from China, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not the UFC could host a fight on a pay-per-view event in China. During a recent interview with MMA Fighting, she weighed in on a potential fight against Weili in front of their hometown crowd, saying, "Because Weili is the champion, she's the hero for our nation. So a lot of people can only see her, but just cannot see other fighters. So they may just underestimate me, and I just cannot share the love from the fans with Weili because she's a champion. But this time, I just want to show everybody what I can do in the cage and shut everybody up." With Weili winning the belt back in November, many people have been holding out hope that the UFC will announce her next fight sooner rather than later. After winning the title, Weili stated that she hoped she could defend her belt in China in 2023. Should the fight wind up taking place, do you believe Xiaonan has what it takes to capture UFC gold? Drop your predictions in the comments section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have Khamzat Chimaev revealing he signed a contract to fight Kamaru Usman next. As of right now, there's no word on where the fight will happen, but it's most likely in October on the Abu Dhabi card with Islam Makhachev. What do you think about this fight? Do you think Khamzat Chimaev has what it takes to defeat Kamaru Usman? Let us know down in the comment section below. Here are the top comments from yesterday's video. I love how Nate is extending his vocabulary. LMAO, only Nate Diaz wouldn't care about not knowing how to pronounce inevitable. Zuckerberg got that artificial intelligence grappling IQ. He didn't take the jacket was handed to him, but he made it some funny. And those were the top comments from yesterday's video. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it. Thank you so much for joining us today. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.